All right, guys, before we do anything, got all sorts of announcements. So just kind of bear with me. I decided to pretty much give you a heads up on everything that's coming up this week, next week, pretty much all the grades we have left. So just listen up. First and foremost, essays. Those were due yesterday for you guys in here. Obviously, those were due before you left. I think everybody got those in. But if for some reason the kids at home or whoever didn't get that done yesterday, it is late, but get it done. Do it today. If you can get it in today, it's only 20 points off. Anything after that, it is going to be a failing grade no matter what. So, use your time appropriately. As I've been saying, and you can kind of see the flyer right here. I showed it to you yesterday, but we do have our AP exam spring payment deadline. Most of you guys, if you are taking the AP exam, you probably did the down payment at the beginning of the year, meaning you probably still have $46 left. If you already paid, or if you did the reduced price version, if you're eligible for that, what you owe may be nothing, it may be different. If you have questions, though, if you're not entirely sure, please talk to Miss Cordova in the counseling office. She's the one that can answer all your questions. But if you're going to take this AP exam, which I highly recommend, your final payment is due next Friday, the 19th. Kind of things that we have coming up today, kind of a lame bookwork day, but it's easy. That's going to kind of set the stage for what we're doing the rest of the week. We're going to be talking about the new age of imperialism, European nations, the United States going out, conquering and colonizing much of the rest of the world. Very, very much connected to what we just talked about, the Industrial Revolution. Today, you've got just a little bit of bookwork, kind of some introductory reading. Those are notes that will have to be in your notebook. And then the rest of the week, we'll be going through a PowerPoint and watching some video clips related to this topic. This age of imperialism, these consequences of industrialization, that's the last thing that we need to cover before our next test. So that is coming up. So kind of, once we finish up the stuff from this week, we got all sorts of things coming up next week, pretty much wrapping up grades for the 6 weeks next week because it is the fifth week. You're off on Monday, so obviously nothing there. Friday's a half day, so we'll get done what we can. But tentatively on Tuesday, we are going to have another SAQ. It's going to be over your reading today. A lot of it's over your reading today, but also just anything we discussed this week concerning imperialism. So definitely take some good notes. Stay up on that. Tentatively, next Thursday, we are going to have our next test. It's the District Common Assessment over 1750 to 1900 DCA 4. It's going to be political revolutions, industrial revolution, and all this imperialism stuff that we talk about this week. That, like I said, is tentatively next Thursday. There's a chance I may have to push it back to Friday, but it won't be any sooner than Thursday. You will see here, I'm assigning another extra credit opportunity. Let's go ahead and click on that real quick. This is the same thing we've done every 6 weeks, just a different time period. Little extra credit, 1750 to 1900 this time. You watch a documentary, needs to be at least 30 minutes in length. You could potentially get 15 extra points added to your lowest test credit at the end of the 6 weeks if you do everything that the rubric asks for. Again, this is a really easy extra credit opportunity that I offer just about every 6 weeks. Take advantage of it. This is something that shows me that you want to pass, and it's something that honestly, if you pick a good documentary, it's going to aid in your just kind of your historical knowledge anyway. So take advantage of that. That is going to be due next Friday. So you got almost 2 full weeks to get it all squared away. And then finally, our final notebook check is going to be next Friday as well. Now, this notebook check is not going to have an awful lot in it. What we've had thus far, we had some notes over the Ottomans, the Qing, Japan, their responses to industrialization. We did that on the 1st. Today, we've got another little bookwork, but it's easy, dealing with, kind of introducing what we're talking about all week, imperialism. Tomorrow, we're going to start a PowerPoint over imperialism. You will need some notes for that. And there may be one more thing, probably some review questions that we'll do next week. That's just about it. Okay, so probably only give you 4 things, 25 points apiece. Make sure that you have some good notes. Make sure that you're thorough. Again, you know, we're not going to have a whole lot, but what we do have does need to be quality. So those are basically the announcements coming forward. Again, we got a lot of stuff coming up, an SAQ next week, the DCA next week, a notebook check at the end of next week. You also have this extra credit due at the end of next week as well. Now let's talk about what is going down today. Today, you guys are going to do, you know, kind of average a book work week or a book work day a week. Today is that day, but it's short. Okay, there's only 4 pages you absolutely have to read. If you finish this early, go ahead and read the rest of the chapter. But this is kind of what we're trying to accomplish at the very least. Today we're reading through chapter 24, the first 4 pages or so, kind of over this idea, imperialism. To start, there are 2 definitions I'd like you to add into your notebook. We've talked about these before, but I don't know if we've ever actually written them down. And because we're going to be talking about them so much this week, we're going to be using these words like, I don't know, 100 times a day or something like that. You really need to have a firm grasp on what these things mean. So your first little definition you are going to need is, well, it's what you think it is, imperialism. The practice of one country controlling the government and economy of a is process of empire building. And to some degree, we've talked about imperialism this entire year. We'll talk about, you know, your more formalized imperialism, like what you think of as empire building, but we'll also talk about some less formal indirect imperialism. Sometimes countries use their economic power to pretty much be the puppet masters in certain territories. Kind of similar to what we saw in China when we talked about our spheres of influence. Imperialism is a big force, you know, throughout the 1800s into the 1900s. And as I've mentioned, it's one of the many things that kind of leads to World War I and to World War II. A part of imperialism is colonialism, the system by which a country maintains colonies outside its borders. Again, I know we've talked about these, but I don't know if I've ever actually had them in the notebook before. So if you will copy those down, that would be fantastic. Now that you know that, this is the big task. Today, you're reading these 4 pages. Within these 4 pages, it's kind of broken up into 4 different parts. And today we're just talking about the motivations of imperialism. Why are these industrializations doing this stuff? Why are they going out in the 1800s and building empires? Okay, we're kind of dividing our motives into 3 types: economic motives, money; political motives, power; and ideological motives. And this is the really messed up stuff. Honestly, it's a bunch of evil, racist nonsense, but it is some nonsense that you need to understand, because that's at least why they claimed, or why they did do what they did. For each one of these sections, the first one's a lot longer because, again, money has to do with everything. I need at least 5 descriptive bullet points over those pages. For the other 2, political motives and ideological motives, 3 descriptive bullet points minimum. Now, when I say descriptive bullet points, that means more than 2 words, okay? We're looking at close to a good sentence or 2. Again, I do need some details. This is going to be something I'm looking for in your notebook. If you give me just a little bit of information, I'm probably not going to give you full credit for this particular part of your notebook. But put a little effort into it. Like I said, the easiest thing to do is read the section, then go back through and just jot down a few notes of the things that you think are the most important. A little tidbit though, if you see something italicized in those sections, it's usually like some key vocabulary. Try to integrate that into your summaries. Other than that, that's pretty much it. It's a good introduction of what we're going to talk about all week. Tomorrow, be prepared to discuss this stuff, because this is what we're going to open up with. I would like to have a good discussion. And then we will just kind of get through the remainder of the PowerPoint over the next few days. Any questions on the goal today? Again, not the most exciting, but like to get this stuff done in class. That way you don't necessarily have to do it at home. If you finish early, go ahead and read as much of the chapter as you can beyond that. But this is the chief goal. Read these 4 pages, get those definitions down, but definitely get your bullet point summaries down. While you guys are doing that, I'm going to be trying to get some essays graded. So hopefully within the next couple days, I'm hoping by Friday, those grades will be in. That is my goal. We'll see if that all works out. If you want to listen to your headphones, you are more than welcome to do that. Like I said, be productive, get this stuff done. It won't take you long if you actually get to work on it. If you need anything, let me know. Good luck.